I have an outline of things written up, but I wanted to go ahead and start with just, talking about you starting baseball in Australia. I mean, that's not something you see every day.
Yeah, it's not that big here, but like most kids, my parents just took me out to T-ball. I think it was just more of a social thing for them, as
Hmm.
parents do when their friend groups all do the same thing. So there was a T-ball club, probably like two k's down the road. So started there, enjoyed it, and then started playing at my local club, which was only like just down the road as well. So super
Okay.
close to a couple of baseball fields, surprisingly. But yeah, just we don't have high school athletics or anything like that. So it's all like it's club teams, but it's like a different. It's like not the same as club ball in America, I guess. But
Yeah.
I've been with the same club since I was probably 8 years old. So
Wow.
I've just worked my way up through the different age groups and then just playing like at the senior level there in the state league.
So y'all don't have like any high school sports?
We have, there's like a special sports school, but like it's not like America at all. I went to the only baseball school in the state, so we didn't play
Dang.
anyone. It was more so we got graded on it. It was a class. We got to take it as a class. So we got taught how to score. We got taught how to umpire. We did all that kind of, and we got our coaching certification, all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, I mean,
but we got
that's a
to,
lot better than here.
yeah, we got to take baseball as a lesson. So I think in 10th grade, I dropped math and started taking baseball. So it was pretty fun. And I got to, yeah, one or two of my class periods a day were baseball. So it was good for
That's
me
pretty
trying to
awesome.
get to that next level.
And then so after, after high school there, you ended up going to a junior college in Illinois and transferred to a 4 year in Kansas City, correct?
Yeah. So I knew like pretty much as soon as I got to high school, I wanted to go to college. We'd had a couple of American teams come over and like, I knew I wanted to play baseball at the next level. And for me, that was going to be college. And I basically got a list of every single junior college in the country, and I sent emails, just blind emails to all these schools with just like a little bit about me, some stats, and some really poor video, which I think is still on YouTube, which is pretty funny. But and then John Wood replied and offered me a scholarship, and I didn't know anything about it. I just thought it was a funny name and didn't know where Quincy was, and then ended up flying across the world to go to John Wood Community College in Quincy, Illinois for 2 years.
That's
And that
crazy.
was awesome. Awesome experience. Loved JUCO. Would do it again. Had a great time, and yeah, it really helped me develop as a baseball player from playing once a week in Australia to playing almost every day and being in that
Yeah.
environment in the
Every
States
day
was
and
huge.
little regulation on that too.
Yeah, yeah, we had 3 a days. So we'd wake up morning weights and then go to class and would have practice, and at night we'd have Pilates. So it's just
Yeah.
all into it. So yeah, we
Yeah.
were abused a little bit, but it was good for development, of course.
Mixed with, I'm assuming, a small junior college town, not a lot to do besides go to
Yeah,
go to the school cafeteria, study, and that's it.
yeah, we had the study halls and all that. I'd never seen snow. I'd never seen like cornfields. I'd never seen deer, like squirrels. Just all these things I'd never seen before, coming from South Australia and Adelaide, a small little beach town, to the heart of America. So it was fun just going around and seeing those other small towns, and that's been a big thing for me with baseball, is traveling to those towns you probably wouldn't go to without it. So
Mhm.
I have a different perspective on my time in America than most.
So after you transferred to, was it Rockhurst in Kansas City?
Yeah, so I went home for a year after JUCO just because I needed to work and make more money to afford to continue to go to college. So I came home, lived at home, worked, and then went back to Rockhurst the following year, and that was awesome. I love Kansas City. We had a great group my sophomore year, and we were close to the D2 World Series, and that was awesome. But I tore my UCL that year and actually
Mm.
got to be the pitching coach the next year. So that was fun experience. And then back to playing my senior year at like 24 years old and
Wow.
kind of
So
old
was
and
it kind
yeah.
of hard to come? So when you went back home after junior college, was it hard to find a school to take you after you'd been back home for a year?
I committed to Quincy University originally, but that fell through. Obviously, taking the year off, they withdrew their offer. But
Hmm.
I just stayed in touch with some guys I played summer ball with, and I always wanted to go back. And I think just again sent another email to Rockhurst, and they said let's go. And next thing I knew, I was back
Yeah,
over
that
into
works.
it again.
So I looked into it. After that, you went to you had 2 stints with indie league teams, right?
Yeah, yep. So I went to the Pecos League after graduation. I had a tryout in the Frontier League, didn't make it. Then just talked to one of my friends that was playing with the Las Vegas Train Robbers, and he said, "Come on out." So my roommates drove me. I think it was 8 hours from Kansas
Phew.
City to Return, New Mexico, and they were in a rain delay. I ended up pitching that day, and
Really?
I just after an 8 hour drive, I just couldn't believe it. It was like I'd heard a lot about the Pecos League, and I got to experience firsthand my first day what it was going to be like. So
So
yeah,
you drove out that day. I mean, have you, besides knowing you had a spot, had you talked to the coaches, the
nah,
staff, or
not at
anything?
all. I just had a bag packed, and yeah, my roommates dropped me off and said, "See you later." And I
Wow,
was at the field with all my shit just sitting there, and they're like, "Go get ready." I was like,
that's
I got
crazy.
changed just next to the dugout, and yeah, went in that game.
Can't even
But
imagine you were on the roster at that point.
yeah, no, it probably wasn't. I don't think there's too many rules at that point in the Pecos League. But
That's crazy. And you were two-way there, weren't you?
no, so well, I get in the dugout. I come in from my inning, and they're like, "You're up fifth." I was like laughing. I was like, "Good joke, haha." And they're like, "No, there's no DH in this league." I was like, "Oh shit!" So
Oh, wow.
picked up a bat. Hadn't swung a bat. I tried to be a two-way guy my freshman year at JUCO, so I hadn't swung a bat in 2-3 years, but just tried to foul balls off. Wasn't trying to get hits, just trying to
Hmm.
work the pitch count and get the guy out of the game. But yeah, ended up getting a few little singles, little pokes over shortstop.
Yeah, I saw
It
that you
was
had,
good fun.
it said 269 average and 31 at bats. And so I was like, did he try to two-way a bit? But that makes more sense DHing or
No,
not having a
I
DH.
I don't like hitting at all. I don't even like BP. It's not for me. I'm not a power guy. It's not fun. I hit
Yeah.
singles over shortstop, so it's just like I
Did
wasted
they
everyone's time.
did they make y'all take BP like weekly or anything?
No, we didn't really do a whole lot of BP. We played a lot and then just traveled, drove ourselves to games and stuff like that. So you just kind of showed up and played. There was no
Okay.
BP
So
unless you had like a training day.
y'all didn't even have a team bus?
Our team didn't. No, we just drove ourselves. A few guys just carpooled, and most fields didn't really have like locker rooms and all that for you either. So
Dang.
just kind of showed up, got changed in the car park, and then just strapped it up and got ready to go.
Wow.
Yeah, we
So,
washed our own uniforms. Like had one uni had to wash it at like random laundry mats on the road and stuff like that. Had 4 to 6 guys in the hotel room,
wow.
but yeah, it was different. But I'm glad I started there. It was good to see. I mean, junior college and college kind of, especially at the D2 level,
Hmm.
prepares you for anything. So it's
Yeah,
not like I
definitely.
thought I was too good for any of that, and I'm glad I got to experience it and make it through it and move up in the indie leagues, and it makes me appreciate where I am now a lot more than probably
Yeah.
most.
So before we get, I was going to keep going into like comparing indie ball to minor league, but a little bit before that, I had seen a little bit about you going to Japan to play just for a little stint. I heard it didn't turn out great, but I couldn't find much on it.
Yeah, so Japan was probably harder than the Pecos League for sure. They're very set in their ways over there, and if I'd done it early, I probably would have been okay with it. But for me, it was just tough. We played, I think, 60 games over 6 months, so we played 3 to 4 games a week.
Wow.
If we didn't have a game, we practiced 8 hours a day, and it was the same exact practice for 6 straight months. There was no change, and I just didn't adapt well to that because I don't like doing things that I don't feel are benefiting me as a
Hmm.
pitcher and my career. And some of the stuff they wanted us to do was just insane. A lot of running, a lot of weird drills, and they wanted 60 pitch bullpens the day before you start, and I'm not used to that. I didn't want to
Yeah,
do that, so I
I've
just
heard
kind of
that
pitched my
before.
game.
I have
Yeah,
a teammate at my old school. He played a little bit at in Japan, and he said it was
yeah.
60 pitch bullpen almost every day with where he was at.
Yeah, I love the country. I love my teammates. I loved the experience, but I just didn't get what I was hoping for out of the baseball, and that was a big thing for me. But I'm glad I did it because, like, I've seen so much now that going to like spring training and all that. It's fun, it's easy, and
Yeah, I'm sure
it's
that
so
makes
nice.
even junior college look easy and enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like when I'm getting woken up at 5 o'clock to drive 8 hours before a game, and then we got to set up the field and rake the field and line the field and just clean
Gosh.
up everything and put up all the sponsorship signs before the game. Then they take like 2 hours of BP, and it was just a lot. It was a lot to take in, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I wouldn't go back to that specific league, and it kind of wasn't what I was hoping for. But those stats, they don't even count. That was the worst thing for me as well. Like I threw 140 innings, I think it was 120
Yeah.
innings, and you can't find them. So it's hard to
And
put that on your
that's all
resume.
out of the bullpen, right?
No, I started there. I was a starter.
Okay.
Up until Indie Ball, I kind of did both, and then the Phillies just switched to full-time relieving.
Okay. And so after you played indie ball, you played in the World Baseball Classics in 2017, right? What was
Yeah.
that like? What was from indie ball, China or Japan, college? What was it like
Can you hear that?
transitioning? Yeah, I can still hear you.
Cool. Sorry, my alarm was going off for this Zoom call. Now I've closed the window. Where are we at? Yeah, so the WBC, that was awesome. That's where I signed to play in Japan. So I'd gone from getting treated like a big leaguer, like every level I kind of played up until that point was my major leagues, because I never thought I'd get this far.
Yeah.
So to get to the WBC and have everything we did, but that's an unbelievable experience. Especially in Japan, they are so crazy about baseball, and playing in front of them was unreal, and just the whole thing was awesome. I didn't get to pitch though. That was the big thing for me,
Really?
and I still have a massive grudge about that. But again, stuff like that helps you with your moving forward in your career. So I held that to heart for a long time, and I still do, up until the Premier 12 when I finally got to pitch at the national level for my country. So, but still a great experience. Just obviously would have liked to get on the mound in one of the games.
Was there any other professional players on that team?
Yeah, we had Peter Moylan. He was still in the big leagues at the time. Ryan Rollins-Smith had played in the big leagues previously. Trent Olchen. Warwick Saupold was there as well. So I think we had Luke Hughes had played in the big leagues. So a lot of our Australians that had been there were on that team. And Brad Harmon. So, and then like current minor leaguers were still there, but I can't remember who. Obviously it was.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was a pretty good team.
It was a good team for us. We don't normally get access to all of our pro guys, and a lot of guys get shut down. And I don't think we've had a full strength team for a while. But like that's Australia. We just compete. We're a different breed. It's tough going up against the countries with the big salaries and all that kind of stuff, and guys that play. When we have guys that work 9 to 5, and we have firemen, like forklift drivers and all that kind of stuff, but we're still able to go out there and compete at the world stage. So that's awesome, and a credit to kind of everyone involved in Australian baseball.
Yeah. So you got signed a year later. Was that something that was like possibly in the works while you were with the World Baseball Classic team?
No, that came out of nowhere. I'd signed to play indie ball again. So after Japan, I tried getting a job in the Netherlands, but that didn't work out. And then I signed with Winnipeg, and I was playing in the ABL, and I'd never spoken to a scout before. So I was just pitching. It was like my 5th season in the ABL, and I'd always hoped for it, put up consistent numbers every year and like in the leagues I go to, but never really thought it would happen. And then just out of nowhere, in like January, I got a call from Howie Norsetter, who was a longtime Twins scout who was now with the Phillies, and he said the Phillies are going to sign you. And I was just like, what? Like, I wasn't expecting it, and then didn't hear anything from him for 2 weeks. So I was just sitting there like, is this going to happen, or was he just like playing a joke?
Is this some random like former teammate just prank calling me?
Yeah, I couldn't understand how he kept cutting out. So I was just like on the phone, just sitting there, just like no idea what's going on. But then I got sent through the contract, and it all kind of hit, and we went from there. Yeah, I got to go to spring training that year.
That's awesome. What was that like finally getting to, spring training facilities? So is the are the Phillies major league and minor league facilities together?
They're like really close. So the big league side is the High A Stadium, which
Mm-hmm.
is right like walking distance. You could throw a ball at it like 500 feet away from
Okay.
the minor league complex. So we have like 4 fields in our big locker room and weight room, and then the big leaguers are just over on the Clearwater side.
I know, like in Arizona, a lot of the teams, it's all just one big facility. And in Florida, it's like hit or miss for if it's separate or not. So what was it like finally going, like from all these like small college, facilities, indie ball, all of a sudden to now a professional facility?
I kept pinching myself. It was unreal. Just going there, just walking through the gates, and you see the big P, and then you see the 4 fields, and then like you walk around. Like the weight room's massive. Like the weight room was bigger than our locker room in JUCO. Didn't have a locker
Wow.
room at my 4-year school, so just unreal. And just like getting a glimpse of myself wearing a Phillies uniform and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I just like couldn't wipe the smile off my face, and just like you throw a bullpen and then like 2 seconds later there's a grounds crew guy who's just fixed the pen already and it's ready for the next guy. Like it's so great, and brand new balls all the time, and yeah, unreal. Super
Yeah,
nice.
that's awesome. I mean, first off, you get, the chance to play pro, but it's also like, everything you don't even think of when you're chasing that is like, all this nice stuff just on the side between, days.
In the Pecos League we had to buy some more balls because we ran out of BP balls. So it went from like not having anything to just so much stuff. Like not even
Yeah,
just physical things being given to you, just like everything you could need to get better at
provided.
baseball at your fingertips. So like nutrition, like mental skills, the coaching, the analytics. If you wanted to watch a video of your bullpen, you could go into the video room and watch it. And it's just we had like classroom sessions and stuff where we kind of picked up on like the Philly way of pitching and all that kind of stuff. So it's been great. I enjoy it. I'd heard a lot of bad things about spring training, but for me that was just
I
a
was about to
walk in
say
the park.
with some of what you've said in the
Yeah,
past of experience. I mean,
yeah,
the no pay at spring training, that's completely doable. It sounds
yeah.
like.
You're in a hotel, you get fed. It's not too bad. It's better than not getting really paid at all to play. So
Yeah. So you
yeah,
talked about the nutrition at the facilities. At colleges you have like the cafeteria, which is just basic. Is there any, besides just the quality of food, do they give you all supplements or recommend you take certain ones?
yeah, for sure. So we have meetings about all that stuff and get provided the information on obviously what to take and what not to take and when to take it. But we get good catering, 3 meals a day at the field, and then we have in the weight room now is a smoothie station where all the supplements
Wow.
are. So they have a big fridge where they'll make up like your various shots, like ginger shot, cherry juice shot, beetroot, all the kind of good stuff, turmeric and all that stuff. They'll have all that pre-made stuff for you, and then you can make your own like on these awesome blenders. Make your own smoothies. They have a bunch of frozen fruits, juices, everything you need. And then during the day they'll bring out snacks as well, so like
Wow.
protein balls and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of there's so much there. And then obviously all the supplements. It's just take your vitamins, take everything you need to stay on the field. Hydration tests, all that kind of stuff. So they make sure that you're ready to go every day.
Okay. So with the supplement part, what have you found works best for you?
For me personally, I like all the natural stuff like the turmeric and ginger
Okay.
juices, the beetroot juice. I'll crush that all the time. The greens. But subs, just normal protein I like taking. I'm taking this supplement called Yoked. It's a
Okay.
fertilized egg protein that's supposed to
Interesting.
help with recovery and all that good stuff. So it's just an additional thing to take. Right now, I'm on fish oil tablets. Gotten into CBD as well since
Okay.
that's taken off the banned substance list. So that helps with stress and anxiety and just sleep. But yeah, nothing too crazy, I guess. I'm not
Yeah.
overly big or something, but just whatever's NSF approved and ASADA approved, basically I'll try, and if I like it, and I'll stick with it.
Okay. And on the protein, are you a vegan protein, plant-based, or just basic?
I was for a while. I went vegan for 3 or 4 months during spring training start of this year. But now, no. I mean, we take collagen as well, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I'll just take whatever they recommend and whatever
Okay.
tastes the best. I find the vegan proteins are a bit chalky, and
Yeah, that's true. That's what I've at least
hard to find a
experienced.
good tasting one. But I can't remember the brands that we take, but they're super tasty. And now here we're with VPA Australia, and I think I have chocolate mint protein, which is delicious, and great bubblegum pre-workout. So
They're getting creative with the flavors.
Stuff. Yeah, but just got to make sure it's all allowed substances because you don't want to pop or something like that.
I mean, the kind of protein I use, I think it's just like there's the chocolate milk instead of, just milk chocolate, but they have like, cereal milk, like fruity pebble milk, and it's like
good. It's all getting so much better as it goes on too. They're finding new ways to put new flavors in it all and make it easier to take.
Exactly. So I know you're big on, recovery, all these like the yolk you talked about, the CBD, all this recovery stuff. Talk me through some of your like recovery tools if you want.
I have a lot. Now Sarah Howard program with the Gorgeous Ball, I think it is.
You just started that about a month ago, right?
Yeah. So she reached out on one of my tweets when I was locked into quarantine and recommended the Gorgeous Ball and the tune-up balls, and I've been using those ever since I got out. And just things you didn't think about, like core massaging and like hydrating your core after you throw and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously now I had 2 oblique injuries last year, which kind of ruined my season.
Yeah.
So I missed 3.5 months with the first one and then 2 months with the second one. So
wow,
just spending a lot more, changing kind of the way I lift and what I'm focusing on and recovering more, doing the stretching, doing the pre-game routine. But the Gorgeous Ball is great. The massage sticks, the massage guns, just a foam roller, just getting kind of the muscles limber and getting everything ready to go. Spending a lot more time on my pre and post throwing routines now after going to Cressy this off season and actually learning what I need to do to throw as opposed to just showing up to the field and picking up a ball and rolling it over a few times.
So if you could pick one of those things, the elite mobility training program, the So Right that I know you use, all that stuff. If you could pick one thing to take on you with a road trip, a team road trip, you're away for a week. What's the one you go to with?
I gotta take my J bands still.
Okay.
I love those.
Well, I mean that's sort of team, team kind of supply.
Okay, so just me personally.
Yeah.
The Gorgeous Ball for sure.
Okay.
The routine, the hour I spend on that at night is so relaxing. It's a good like pre-sleep routine as well. So I think just to wind down and work on my core a little bit, it's probably something I'm glad I added to my routine for sure.
And do you use her yoga tune-up balls too?
Yeah, I love those. Never really thought about any of this until I found her, and I spend so much time on all of that stuff now. Just rolling my feet out, rolling my shoulder out. She uploaded a video yesterday for the IT band and the hips, and I'm about to go do that after this in the garage for a while. And it helps. It really does. And having someone that kind of knows what they're doing show you the way, it's really helpful. And just, something I never really thought about until now.
When I found out about her and her program, it was like, 4 years ago, I'm guessing. And it was, I think she mainly had Jack Flaherty and a little bit of Tyler Skaggs using the program too. And, I was one of those like, oh, I'll try, it's, $10 for the balls. And at the time I was like, I'll just try like the free stuff she's putting out. And I was like, okay, this isn't going to do anything, but I'll try it. I started doing it and like, you get up from doing your, 45 minutes of stretch and it's like, wow, like I do feel a little bit better.
And that's the thing. Yeah. And
she's
a little bit better. Yeah, it's great. It's getting that little bit, feeling that little bit better can be the difference between a good outing and a bad outing. If you can go in there 100% recovered and confident that you're recovered, it's going to make a big difference. So especially now with all the downtime, like do I just lay in bed and watch TV, or do I sit on my cordless ball and watch TV? Like, it's not hard to do, and they're easy to pack. It's just something to throw in the bag and just do it, like you said. And she has a lot of good content. I know the Tune Up Instagram has a lot of good content. YouTube will have a lot of good content. It's just finding what works for you and just sticking to it and making it part of your routine. I guess that's going to help.
So you talked about with your oblique injury, you changed the way you lifted. What's a little bit of like the way you used to lift compared to what you do now?
So I hadn't lifted hard or properly from JUCO, because JUCO, we actually had a program. We did team lifts, all that kind of stuff. My 4 year, we didn't have a strength coach. Indie ball, you don't have a strength coach. So I was kind of just doing my own thing where I'd go in there, do the standard like squat, bench, deadlift, and do it on my own. And then with the Phillies, like, it was more intense, like, compared to what I was doing, but nothing crazy. But then going to Cressy really helped me get like the individualized program and getting the evaluation to find out like where my deficiencies were. So switching from just standard lifts to more single leg stuff, and spending more, I think the warm-up routine there takes me an hour to do before I even pick up a weight. So spending more time on that, getting everything ready. Like, my body feels better than it ever has, and I'm 31 now. So it's been good. Just, I couldn't go into a normal weight room and pull out my program and do my lifts without getting looked at
warming
funny.
up.
But yeah, just all of it. But because I'm not going in there to try and lift the house, I'm going in there to build a foundation for what I need to do. So
yeah, I can kind of relate to that. I've got my coach, I have a lifting coach who was with Driveline, and he's still doing my remote programs. And it's like, I'll look around and be like, I don't think I've seen anyone else here ever do these lifts. And it's like, I mean, I'm at a normal gym, but it's still just kind of like, man, like, this is different.
Yeah, you just got to throw that out and just do what works for you. Not worry about what the other people are thinking, because I mean, most of them will just do one set of bench and sit on their phone on the bench for 30 minutes anyway. So it's nothing to worry about. But yeah, it's been fun learning and getting exposed in the weight room. Cressy every day, everyone's just laughing, like doing a Turkish get up again for the first time in years, and Bulgarian split squats and all the other split squat varieties, single leg RDLs, all that kind of stuff. Just kind of getting better at the basic things can make a big difference.
So are you still doing like a remote program with them?
Yeah, so I did the remote program, and then I went to a gym back home who's made me a program based off my last 3 or 4 Cressy programs as well. So just a variety of stuff, kind of throwing a lot of things at the wall, seeing what sticks, what I like. We're getting into close to season now, so like understanding the volume of throwing is going up, and then stepping away from 4 or 5 days in the weight room down to 3, and just continue with the mobility stuff more so than the lifting right now.
I think one of the best things I've heard of, like ramping up volume of throwing and lifting, or either like ramping up lifting and going down and throwing, is you think of it like a dollar bill. Like, you can only spend $1. So you can't put, $1 worth in lifting and $1 in throwing. It's got to be like 50-50, 60-40.
Yeah. As much as I want to do it all and go in there and lift heavy and lift 5 days a week, I just know that that's not good for my body. That's not going to keep me on the field. So we've kind of, by now, like being this late in my career, I kind of know when I need to lift and when I need to throw, and so it's just sticking to the routines and just continually getting my work in, just eliminating the days where you don't do anything and just mixing in just a few things.
So in a typical minor league season, do you have like a certain routine of like, these days I lift, or is it like, I pitch today, lift tomorrow?
Yeah, so they'll plan that for you. Our strength coach, he'll have, I think it's relievers, lifts 3. You got to get at least 3 or 4 lifts a week. So you can work around your outings. Obviously, you'll do your harder days the day after you throw. If you haven't thrown in a few days, you would take it easy in that. But they have that all planned out, and that works really well. But some guys will get in there every day. Others just do the 3 days. But yeah, I guess pitching volume is a big indicator of how much you can get in there. But yeah, they plan that all out. On the road, we have to go to the gym. It's compulsory for relievers. So we do that on the road whenever we can, and then at home, I think it's your standard 3 or 4 lifts a week.
Okay. And as a reliever, what's your, kind of typical routine as in, warming up? Do you throw like before the game during BP2, or do you just completely get hot when they tell you to warm up or a few innings before?
That's been a bit tough for me. Being a starter for so long, moving to the pen and relieving, I never really understood the whole throwing before BP, like 4 hours before the game
Yeah.
thing. You just got to do it because there's not many guys that want to throw before the game because they're so set in that routine. But I have to keep moving because of that reason. So I'll throw before BP and then make some throws during BP just to stay loose, and then go inside, shower, go through like my stretching pregame stuff. And then once I'm in the bullpen, I'm stretching probably in the first inning, just moving around. I can't sit down. I get bored and I just like to keep everything moving. So like light bands, use a body blade, stretch the legs, just kind of move around every inning. And even if I'm not going to pitch that day, I gotta keep on moving.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be ready than surprised, I guess. So I'm different to a lot of relievers who can just sit down and get out there and then flip a switch. I need to move a lot earlier than most.
So is there anything, you throw, take some rest, and then you start moving? Is there anything like, say, J-bands, body blade that you try not to do twice if you don't have to?
Weighted balls I won't do twice. I prefer to do those on days I know I'm not throwing. But again, I know guys do weighted balls before they start warming up in the pen.
Okay, so you're not a fan of using them as a warm up, more as a strength development.
Yeah, strength development and recovery. I get my weighted balls in right now 4 days a week.
Okay.
But I've just found that what works for me, I don't like using them before a bullpen or before a game. So for me, it's like the day after, or like to help with long toss and all that kind of stuff. But everyone's different, so I know some guys will do it. But
and do you, to an extent, when you're throwing at BP, do you like somewhat stretch it out with long toss, or is it just more
depending how much I've thrown. When I first got moved to the pen, I tried doing my starter long toss routine every day, and that just taxed my arm. So now probably out to 150 max.
Okay.
Effort level depending on the day. If I haven't thrown in a while, just throw normally. If I've thrown a lot, then I'll probably go easy. But just keep it consistent with how the arm's feeling and kind of read the arm and see how we are.
Okay. So, there's all kinds of horror stories, fun stories about being in the minors. What is your, one thing that just describes the toughness of a minor league, situation that people wouldn't know?
That's a tough question. I don't know. It's kind of a grind, but it's like, again, it's just baseball. But I guess just being ready for anything. Like, I got sent back down from AAA last year back to AA, and it was like 2 a.m. and we're on the bus, and I get the call from the manager and the other bus.
Wow.
He said, "You're flying out today." So I had to go back to the field, grab all my stuff, take it home, go to the airport the next day. Then I had like 6-7 hours at the airport waiting, fly to Richmond, Virginia, and then was hot that day because they send you there for a reason. Obviously, like they need an arm that day. So it's just being ready for kind of anything and just not taking it to heart. Like, I don't know, it's hard to get over. Obviously, you don't want to be sent down, but
yeah,
it is what it is, and you still have to perform for the organization kind of thing. So I think just that kind of stuff was the hardest to deal with. Just the flying around and then being put in the game that day. It's kind of different.
So typically, I mean, I know minor league, especially the higher levels, they don't provide housing or host families. So when you're, AA going to AAA, AAA going to AA, you go back to the field, you grab some of your stuff, you go home, I'm guessing grab some of your stuff. But do you leave your, belongings, your, clothes and all that at your apartment in AAA to go back, or, do you have to pack everything you can in 30 minutes?
We didn't have an apartment last year. A lot of the older guys got apartments, but like the younger guys that hadn't been playing a whole lot just stayed in the team hotel. So
Okay.
when we go on the road, we got to pack up all our stuff and then leave it at the field. So that was kind of convenient. All your stuff's just sitting at the field. But the clubbies help out a lot with that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
they'll send the clubby assistants to go pack up your stuff if needed and ship it off to your next location, all that kind of stuff. So they take away a lot of the stress of all that. But housing's a weird one. Like I remember my first year I lived in a house that had like 14 guys on the lease. So
Wow.
there's just so many guys that gone in and out. So whenever one guy moved, a new guy moved in, and just like at the end of the day, like it is what it is, and you make it work.
I mean, there's a lot of Eric Sims talking about his, his version of the minor league brutality. And he was talking about there was, in, I want to say it was low A, there was, like they had like 7 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment. And then he got called up to double A, had to pay his rent there. It was like the first day he had gotten called up, like opening day, he had just paid his lease. He got called up that day to double A and had to pay that lease there too. And he was saying like, for some reason, those double A guys weren't as cheap, and there was like a room to each person. And he wasn't necessarily the most happiest about that. But on Eric Sims, I saw the first time I heard about you actually was a few years ago. Have you seen the video of him trying to throw your curveball?
Yeah.
Was he?
That's funny.
Was there any like? Did he reach out to you asking for grip, or was it just like, hey, like this video of me is on YouTube?
No, that kind of just blew up from I don't know where I don't know what video it was where my curveball grip got exposed and everyone started tagging him into doing stuff, because that was a funny little series he did where he was just trying different grips and that.
The dungeon baseball.
Yeah, and he got tagged. He said he got tagged in it a lot, and he finally tried it. And I don't know why I started throwing that way. I don't think my finger came off the ball until after my surgery, and I don't feel it come off. I grip the ball like normal with my thumb on, and then once I get through my delivery, it just naturally comes off with the pressure. I put too much pressure on the ball into my palm, so it kind of pushes my thumb off the ball. But it was funny to watch that, and I enjoy all his videos. And I mean, he was at a JUCO in Kansas, and that was kind of right around the corner from where I was, and just seeing those experiences. And yeah, we had, I think in AA, we had 4 guys and 2 girlfriends in a 2-bedroom.
Wow.
So the funny, like, there was a first rounder sleeping on the floor in the living room, and he was like, come on, like, go get your own apartment. But
yeah,
it's not that bad. I mean, you're only there to sleep, basically. You don't need it to be too nice. But
and even then, I mean, it's your teammates, so it's not like you're just rooming with some random, crowded random people out there.
Yeah, that's it. It could be a lot worse. Host families would be ideal. I've had some great host families through Indie Ball and all that.
Yeah, I was about to ask. So y'all didn't have any host families in, with the Phillies and the minors?
No, I think at lower levels you can, but signing at 28, I missed all those lower levels. And like, I didn't have, my minor league career hasn't been that bad. Like, my housing's been great. My accommodate, like, everything has been good for me, because I think I played 4 games in high A, then went to AA.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that, because you signed at 28, but you pretty much, skipped the levels that you, would have been in when you start.
I went to extended first. So I got there late, didn't make a team out of spring training, and then spent the entirety of extended spring training there in Clearwater. And then they needed a spot start in high A, which, like I said, is walking distance. So I walked over that day and made my spot start, and then that kind of kept me on a roster for a while. So but yeah, I got to miss all the lower stuff, and I think that's fair considering what I'd seen in college and the Pecos League. So everyone talks about like the travel in the lower leagues, but yeah, I missed all that and went.
The memories of other teammates of yours having in low A and in single A short season, you can top out easily, it seems like.
Oh yeah, they're nothing. They complain about nothing. I just tell them to sit down in my locker and I'll tell them a story or 2.
So for this podcast, one last question. We'll go out with something more fun. Who is one of your favorite teammates, and what's a fun story or something you remember that will always stick around when you think of that person?
Ooh, that's tough. My memory is shocking, so there's the first problem. I think for me, just seeing guys I've played with get promoted and move up to the big leagues, like especially coming from indie ball, you don't see it as often, but going to affiliate ball and like guys you met, and like especially this year watching them, like the Garrett Clevenger, Jojo Romero, JD Hammer last year, like just seeing guys I played with make it to the big leagues and have success is probably the coolest thing I've seen. And seeing it firsthand, like Connor Brogdon was there, Anthony Davis, just like it's cool to see because it gives you an understanding of where you are and like it is possible.
Yeah.
Whereas in indie ball, it kind of felt for me and like impossible to ever make it to the big leagues. So I wouldn't. I mean, I have my closer friends, my teammates that I like, but nothing really crazy that I remember. But yeah, just the joy of seeing dudes make it, because that's obviously why we're playing, and you want to see that for your friends and your teammates, and we got to see that a lot this year, so that was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's crazy just seeing from like not even like a low A guy seeing a triple A guy he had met, get called up, but seeing like, you started out in, Australia, slid on at a JUCO out of emailing a ton, indie ball, Japan, all this, and then all of a sudden like now like you're like next to the guy getting called up.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've always just played because I love baseball and I wanted to play at the highest level I could play at, and I never knew what that level was, and thankfully it just kept moving forward. I didn't feel like I was ever stuck in one place with my career or moving backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So it progressed slowly. Obviously 4 years of indie ball, or 4 years of indie ball, 4 years of college, and then now in my second or third year with the Phillies, however you count, whatever this season was. But yeah, like even just like watching the reaction of everyone, like when a guy backs up a big league spring training game and we get to watch it on the TV in the clubhouse, just seeing everyone so fired up for their friend and all that kind of stuff. It's just a fun environment, and it is great to see. And then like being around big leaguers, like when you do back up a game, like for me, I was just like, I've only seen these dudes on video games. Like it's just crazy. So it's just fun to be in that environment, be around those dudes, and when they come through rehab, just like picking their brain and all that kind of stuff. It's just something I never thought I'd get to experience, and I hope everyone that plays the game can experience a similar story.
That's awesome. Seeing the guys on the video games and pictures of the hallways as you walk through the minor league facility.
Yeah, I just warming up with that dude. It's crazy.
So you're about to start season with the Aces, correct?
Yeah.
Just
got to Melbourne. We're set to play December 18th against Sydney, and Sydney signed Manny Ramirez, so that's going to be awesome to see. So they're going to have Manny, and I'm going to get to throw against Manny, some baseball royalty, and just excited to play again. I haven't played in a professional game since December 21st, 2019.
Wow.
And I tore my oblique that game. So I'm excited to be healthy and pitch and be back out there for the Aces. We're defending our championship.
Okay.
So we've got a good team lined up, some good imports, some good Australians, and short season, anything can happen. So just be ready to go for game one.
And so you'll go from that season, and I'm guessing it ends, early, mid-January or so?
Yeah, we end in January this year. I think the playoffs only 1 week, so we'll be done by January, and then just wait to hear what's happening with spring training and go back.
Hopefully
in February.
Assuming a back to normal spring training, at least the start, would you have like a deload, week or so, or would you just keep, getting bullpens ready just to show up?
The year I signed, which was my best year, I was throwing right until I left. So I've always thrown a lot. I've played year round since 2014. I need a throw, so I don't like taking time off. That 2 weeks in quarantine with no real catch partner was kind of tough, but I need a throw, so I'm gonna keep playing long toss, keep throwing pens, doing all I can, and getting to a spot where I feel ready. Obviously, I haven't thrown a whole lot in the last few years, so I'm not too worried about the volume and overdoing it.
Okay.
I haven't pitched many innings at all, so
fair enough.
I think the year I signed, I was
catch back
close
up
to 200. Yeah, so yeah, just get ready the best I can. It's an advantage playing winter ball for me, I feel. I'm best after a season, and just keep rolling with it.
Well, I think that'll wrap it up for the podcast. I just wanted to thank you again for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me.